everyone. So this is just going to be a quick video going over some ways that you might consider reading works in this course, short pieces, for instance, literature, when you are asked to analyze, right, and write about those pieces and how you might kind of develop some critical reading techniques to help you before you even immerse yourself into a discussion with, right, a piece of literature. And really, these are going to be, I think, useful pointers for any right type of text that you plan to read, but I just kind of wanted to list a few of these verbally for you this week, right? Because we are analyzing literature. We're thinking about, ways that literature comes to life on the page in some ways. So thinking about just point of view and the way that that can kind of alter the way that a story is processed on the audience's end and told, right, from the narrator's end, because point of view is key, okay, depending on who's telling the story. For instance, if you're looking at something like Champion of the World, which we will in this course, you want to be thinking about, well, if it weren't told from that specific narrator, how would the events within the context of the store that night, right, Uncle Willie's store, be perceived differently? How would the details come to life differently? What sounds would be different? What dialogue would be included? What would the narrator be noticing, right? I also wanted to mention as well that I do have some expectations when you're looking at, for instance, like a written text versus a film, because I don't want you to passively engage with either. So for instance, when we get to everyday use in this course, you will be asked to, of course, read the text, but then I've linked you to the film as well. And I've asked you to think about, well, which of these do you like better? Which of them do you think is more effective at bringing to life on the page, right, Alice Walker's narrative, and why? So that might be something that you think about is when you're looking at a text for the first time, you might be really determined to really understand it and evaluate, well, how is it relevant for my needs in the course? I urge you to try to pump the brakes a little bit and remember that simply just skimming or reading really quickly is not probably going to be the most effective way to learn for most people, myself included. Okay, actively and critically engaging with the content that you're working with, even pieces of literature, can really save you a lot of time. So, for instance, you might consider underlining or highlighting keywords and phrases that you read. When you've got the Alice Walker assignment, you might consider having the story out right in front of you as you look at the text up against, or the film right up against it. You might also think about being selective, right? So you don't want to highlight or circle too much because that won't really do you any good. Okay, what you want to do instead is make annotations that are important and strategic to help you understand the meaning or theme of the text. You might make some annotations in the margins. So for instance, raising some questions. You might challenge what you've read. That's always a good thing to do, even with works of literature, right? You could use sticky notes, but I'm somebody who typically just writes in the text itself. You could always think about looking for a way to test yourself, right? So reading for half an hour, maybe putting the text down and then jotting down some key points from memory. So you can see these are all ways that you can actually read for comprehension, right? You might even consider explaining what you've read to somebody else. And you could, this is a suggestion that one of my students actually had given me last semester that worked for her, but record yourself reading, right, the notes that you take, and then listen to those notes again. I'm really big, you'll see when we start working on, for instance, like presentations, I'm big on recording yourself to listen to it back for that same reason, but I don't know why it never crossed my mind. What a great idea, right? You can actually record the notes that you take on a text and listen to them later so that you're kind of rehearing that text in your own words. Okay, I hope this video was useful as you complete the assignments on literature for the week. As always, if you have any questions, just let me know, and I hope everyone is doing well.